Hi, I'm Celia from ST Math, and I'm pleased to offer this mini webinar on how you might support your students and their families as they use ST Math at home. During this time, while we're social distancing, you might feel unsure about how you can support your students in ST Math, or maybe you're getting questions from families about how they can support their child while the student is working on ST Math at home. Today, I'm going to share with you a variety of ST Math support strategies that you can offer your students' families even though you can't work with them directly right now. These are probably things that you do naturally in the classroom as part of your regular math routine, but they might be things that parents don't think of or families don't think of, and they're really easy for them to do to help their students. First of all, encourage your families to use scratch paper. If a student has a spiral notebook laying around or a notepad, that is a really great place to work out those tough problems while at the same time they can track their progress. This could also serve as a really valuable record for evaluating their student work so that when they come back to school, you can get an understanding of where they're at. And it doesn't have to be formal to be effective. It can just be pencil and paper. Or if you have a student who has a whiteboard, they can use that too. Your students are going to benefit from writing down their thoughts as they work through a problem, and it can also help them synthesize and extend their learning. Families can use this strategy to help students who might be having difficulty on a certain level, or they can extend learning by having a student draw what they learned or what process they used to solve a problem. Another suggestion is to use common household items as manipulatives. Realize, though, some of your families might not know the term manipulative, so you may have to clarify and provide some examples of household items that are appropriate for your particular student population. If you regularly use manipulatives in your classroom, your students might find this familiarity really helpful to them. Now, math journaling is a great way to get insight into your students' thoughts about math and their problem-solving strategies. It's just a wonderful addition to ST Math problem solving. The journals are going to shift instructional focus from computation to problem solving in real-life application. There are a lot of great resources available in ST Math Central that you can share with families to help them help their student. And I'll share the ST Math Central web address at the end of this webinar. From the ST Math perspective, the teacher is critical. Our games are meant to be engaged in discussions with the teacher, so we design our games with that in mind. This is a quote from one of our founders, Dr. Matthew Peterson. You should consider each game as an opportunity to engage your students in a rich mathematical discussion. But it's really important to gain an understanding of the learning process that occurs when students are in any game, because this can give you or the family member an entry point into conversation. When your students are in a game, they engage in this learning process fluidly. It's very natural for them. They notice what's on the screen and they figure out what they need to do. They make a prediction based upon what they think the solution is going to be. They analyze the informative feedback they receive, whether they answer correctly or incorrectly, and they begin to make connections to the math they know and what they can use to solve the next problem. One of the really great things about ST Math is no matter what game a student is playing, the learning cycle remains the same. So you or parents can offer the same type of support even if neither of you have seen the game before. You can also ask thoughtful questions. If you have Google Classroom, Class Dojo, or a similar district-approved communication tool, you can share the steps for Notice, Predict, Analyze, and Connect, and you can also share the Facilitating Questions document with families. Or if you notice an alert or you think a student might need some support to get them over a hurdle, you can use these questions. These are the same types of things that you would use in your regular classroom if you were present with your students, and they're easy enough that parents can use them too. Ask students, what do you notice on the screen, or what happens when you hover or click in a certain area? Ask the student to predict what Gigi needs to do. And it's not just getting Gigi from point A to point B, But what action really has to occur so Gigi can get across the screen without encountering any obstacles? After a student has made a choice, you can ask them to analyze what the animation showed them, and then they can connect what they learned to what they already know. If a student answered incorrectly, you can ask them, well, what do you know now that you didn't know before? And if they answer correctly, you can ask, how does the informative feedback help them to solve the next puzzle? Once in a while, though, you're going to get a student who reaches out and says to you, they're stuck. So a resource that you could use is Gigi's I'm Stuck journal. Through a series of questions, you can help students connect, analyze, and reflect on what they already know, and help them notice what Gigi is trying to teach them. If you don't want to use the paper version of the journal, you can pose these questions that are on the journal to support your students, or you can share them with parents too. This is the third of a series of short webinars that you can join to learn a bit more about ST Math. You can look for others on YouTube by searching for ST Math, or search topics on ST Math Central, where you're going to find a schedule of free national webinars that we hope you'll join. I also recommend participating in the self-guided online courses that we have available in ST Math Central. These can be a refresher that you can complete on their own. They're free and they're self-paced. As promised, the web address to ST Math Central is stmath.com/central. Thank you so much for being with us today and taking the time to learn more about how you can support your students with ST Math. I hope that you'll join us again, and just know that the whole team at ST Math is here to help you. Should you ever have any questions, please reach out to us at either our support email address or our toll-free number. Someone is going to be there to answer your calls from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.